Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, doing the preview, ESPN, the Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter, ESPN Plus pay-per-view preview and predictions for the whole card. We'll come back to the Crawford and Porter fight last, but we're gonna go down the undercard real quick. It's an okay undercard, some solid fighters. Guys you're gonna want to pay attention to. First, kicking off the card is a lightweight battle between two undefeated prospects on the rise. You got 12-0 Raymond Muratalla taking on 12-0 Steven Ortiz. Now, these two guys, both 12-0, but vastly different knockout ratios. Muratalla, 12-0, 10 knockouts. Ortiz is 12-0 with only 3 knockouts. So you got power versus boxing right here. And I really don't know anything about either one of these guys, but looking at their resumes and stuff, I mean, neither guy has fought anybody yet, anybody worth the note. So nothing, so these guys are definitely just testing themselves against each other. But I'm going with Muratalla just because he packs that big punch. I'm going to pick him to win this fight by knockout. Also on the undercard, you have top 10 middleweight Zanabek. Let me try to get this guy's name right. Zanabek Alimkhanuly. He is the man they call Kazakh style. Earlier this year, if you don't know this guy, he's a top 10 middleweight. And the reason he's a top 10 middleweight, he's undefeated. The reason why he's a top 10 middleweight is because he stopped former champion Rob Brandt. And that was impressive. He broke down Rob Brandt and stopped him in the 9th round of that fight. Completely dominated him, pretty much. I mean, overwhelmed him and his nickname says it all. That Kazakh style, he has that similar style to that of Triple G. And he is talented. The guy is pretty solid. He's tough as hell. And I'm looking forward to seeing him come back because he's taking on former 2-time champion, the veteran Hassan Nadam. Now, Hassan Nadam, to me, is past it. And if Kazakh style cannot stop Hassan Nadam, then he's not on that level. But I think he's coming in to stay busy, and he wants to impress too, being on a pay-per-view undercard. So I think he's coming to win this fight. I think he is going to knock out Hassan Nadam in the early to middle rounds, and Alimkhanuly is going to keep pushing forward towards something bigger. Make sure you watch Kazakh style because he is a top 10 guy. Now the co-feature is going to feature a guy who's right around the top 10. He floats between 10 and 15, and he's coming off the biggest win of his career, and that is Esquiva Falcao from I believe he's from Brazil. And he's taking on, or Falcao, I don't know how you say his name, but he is taking on little-known Patrice Volny, who's an undefeated fighter. I believe he's 16-0 with 10 knockouts. And Esquiva Falcao is coming in trying to throw himself into the mix. Really, he's 31, and he's built up an undefeated record, but he didn't really beat anybody until he took on Arthur Akakov, the former world title challenger, and beat him with a 4th round TKO. I believe that was earlier this year. So he's trying to capitalize on that, and he's the co-feature. He's 28-0 with 20 knockouts. I think he's going to go after Volny from Canada, and I think he's going to get him out of there. So not bad on the undercard. No big names, but guys to pay attention to, as I said. But the main event, I think, is going to be a great show. Whether it's a highly competitive two-way action, I don't know how long that's going to last, but it pits Terrence Crawford, the undefeated WBO welterweight champion of the world, as he takes on former 2-time champion Sean Porter. This is a battle of my number 2 welterweight in the world and 3rd pound for pound, Terrence Bud Crawford, as he takes on Sean Porter, who is the consummate bulldog and just always a serious contender and former champion in the best division in boxing, welterweight. I mean, Porter has been pretty much in the title mix since he won his first world title back in 2013 when he beat Devin Alexander. He's always been a contender for 8 years now. And now he gets the biggest, it likely is the biggest. I mean, he's been in some really big fights. So let's give him credit where credit is due. I mean, he's been in there with Keith Thurman, with Danny Garcia, with Errol Spence. He's fought a lot of top fighters, Adrian Broner, and he's won a couple, he's lost a couple. But Sean Porter always comes to fight. Every one of his losses, he has been right there. Kell Brook was a majority decision loss when he lost his first world title. Then the loss to Keith Thurman was a razor-thin decision that I gave to Thurman 7-5, but it was that close. Fight of the year candidate, great fight. And then the loss to Errol Spence was a split decision in a fight where a lot of people, myself included, felt he was going to lose that convincingly. And he just keeps coming, whether he gets knocked down or not too. He got knocked down against Adrian Broner in their fight, and that was but he won a clean decision. He has a hard-fought, close decision win over Danny Garcia. I still believe that was the best win of his career. And he also has a win over Devin Alexander, who was an undefeated champion at the time when he won his first world title. So Sean Porter's been there and back. He's fought the best. And now he's doing it again, taking on Terrence Bud Crawford, who is looking for his swan song to this point in his career. He's had some good wins under his resume, but he doesn't have that top-tier fighter in his prime to add to his resume, and Sean Porter is that. This is the biggest fight of Terrence Crawford's career, and he's had some pretty big fights if you look at on paper, dating back to defeating Yuriorkis Gamboa in an absolute classic in 2014 for the lightweight championship, and then he also, when he moved up to 140, dominated Thomas Delorme in his debut, and then went on to defeat, I believe he beat Ricky Burns, and then destroyed Julius Ndongo to become the undisputed champion. He became only the third man in the four-belt era, the last 30 years, to unify all four belts. He dominated to get into that position, and it was just impressive. And now he wants to leave, no doubt. I might be wrong on who he beat at 140, mind you. Just let me say that. But he also defeated. He won the WBO belt, and then walked through Victor Postal to unify belts, and then knocked out Julius Ndongo to become the undisputed champion. So, and then since he's moved up to 147, he's fought quality opposition, just nobody, because of the top rank banner working against the PBC, he hasn't been in the PBC having most of the welterweight division and the top guys. Crawford's been struggling to find top tier opposition, but the oppositions that he has fought, he's absolutely mopped up. He moved up against Jeff Horn, the Pacquiao beater, in quotes, because Pacquiao got robbed in that fight, but he absolutely annihilated Horn, stopping him in 9 rounds. He stopped Jose Benavidez, impressively in the 12th round of a competitive fight. He defeated Amir Khan. He defeated, what was that guy's name? The Mean Machine, Kavaliauskas. He got what should have been scored a knockdown. He figured him out and knocked him out in the 9th round of that fight. And then he destroyed Kell Brook last year. So this is a guy that is, just that special kind of talent. And he's been waiting around for a guy like Sean Porter. And this is his moment. It's going to be a good fight, in my opinion. It will be competitive. It's just Porter, I think Crawford might win most of the rounds, but it's going to be competitive. Porter is going to put him to the test. And we're going to see if Crawford's timing and his accuracy is all there, and if he's ready to just get Porter out of there and, add to his legacy, but put everybody on notice that the welterweight division is his and people should be afraid. And, I really think he's going to come out and have the best performance of his professional career. I got him stopping Porter in the later rounds It could go to a decision, but Sean Porter, always a very live underdog. Do not count him out. This will be a good fight. In my opinion, it's going to be a good competitive fight for at least half of the fight. And then I think Crawford might take over and dominate the second half. But we'll see what happens. That's Saturday. I believe it's November 20th, ESPN Plus pay-per-view. That's the whole card. I got Crawford winning by a late stoppage, Fal Chow winning by a stoppage in the middle of the later rounds, and I got Kazakh-style Element Kanuli scoring a early to middle round stoppage, and then I have Ray Beltran, Raymond Muratalla scoring a victory in the late rounds, or a stoppage win at some point over Steven Ortiz to stay undefeated. So we'll see what happens. Decent card here. ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Do not miss it. Crawford versus Porter. Can't wait. That's this Saturday. Hope you guys enjoyed this. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.